Speaking of mixed messages, also on this front of the Australian tomorrow, nod and wink to budget blowout. Finance Minister Simon Birmingham has accused Labor of giving a nod and a wink to massively increasing the education and health budgets without taking costings to voters ahead of the May 21 election. In the Coalition's next major attack on Anthony Albanese's lack of policy detail, Senator Birmingham is claiming that the budget could be more than $60 billion worse off over a decade if Labor gives into state demands on schools and hospitals. But a Labor spokesman said the Coalition's claim were more desperate attempts from the Liberals, whose idea of financial responsibility is running up $1 trillion worth of debt. Caleb, we're going to move on to some of the other front pages around the country. Health and education, front of mind definitely during state elections, but I feel education has just gone absolutely wanting in this campaign. It probably has a lot to do with the fact that Alan Tudge is either the faux education minister at this point in time or whoever knows. But, would some people see this as saying, OK, if we're going to be $60 billion worse off over 10 years, I'm willing to cop that. At least my hospitals and my schools are going to be pristine.
Well, perhaps, but it's quite obvious that they're not going to be pristine. I mean, health and education are two systems that for decades we have been continually throwing more and more money at, and nothing gets any better. I mean, there are stories around on front pages tomorrow about how dire the health system is here in Victoria. We know that our NAPLAN results and our various other school results keep dropping in the OECD and across the world. We've got countries like Vietnam beating us at maths and things like this, for heaven's sake. And we are throwing record amounts of money at education. It is time for governments and wannabe governments to stop talking about throwing more money at education and start talking about rebuilding the system from the ground up. I mean, it's like everything at this election. There is just no vision. No one is talking about the future. Forget about the money. Make a system that works. All we do is spend more and more money on a system that fails again and again, and all that gives you is a more expensive failure.
Yeah, indeed. Les, do you think that whoever gets to the point of where they can easily branch accountability between federal funding and state responsibility will be the first to the winner's post on May 21?
Look, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure. You'll certainly have the Labor premiers putting pressure on Albanese. And as you said, there was already raised about a 50-50 split about the hospitals. And to back to what Caleb was saying, at the end of the day, what the average Australian wants is to know that they can go to a hospital and get the healthcare that they need, not be ramped in an ambulance, not be able to get into the hospital room, emergency room at all. And at the moment, we've got that happening in a number of states around this country. And when you look at what's happening in the education system, and they're talking about an extra $1 a day or an extra $1 a week to raise the minimum wage for low-income earners. Well, what about the wages for teachers? Let's start getting some better teachers into classrooms. And if you listen to the debate again tonight, there were a lot of throwaway lines, particularly from Albanese, about what he intends to do, but no real action plan as to how he's going to bring about that change. And I think if they could cut through and actually deliver some real plans around this is what we were going to do, here are the costings, we would probably cop the extra money that's going to be thrown on top of the $1 trillion in debt we already are. But there are no real clear plans.
Yeah.
No.
Speaking